Hello everybody, it's Bourbon Bill, and tonight, a very special episode. We're diving back into one of my favorite craftish distilleries for one of their semi-annual releases. That's right. It's Chattanooga BIB Spring 2019. And by Spring 2019, that's when they barreled it originally. They bottled it in 4 years from then because it's a BIB. So this is the 2023 Chattanooga BIB Spring release. So you might say, well, Bourbon Bill, heck, summer's almost over. It's almost fall. These kind of just came out. Must be behind because it's really hard to make out here, but this was like bottled on like June 1st, 2023. So like they were already like into summer by the time this was bottled and then started to be distributed. So you're probably just seeing these start to hit around if you're looking for them. And if you're an astute viewer, you know that the spring is usually a little bit better than the fall. Some key things. These are like 45-ish to 55-ish doll hairs, depending on where you pick them up at. So they're pretty affordable. Okay, we like to hear that. They do have the words high malt Tennessee whiskey, which it scares a lot of people away, including me, generally. Malt is not your friend. But they usually execute these bibs extremely well. And if you're a little scared of the Chattanooga line because you're not a fan of malt, always safest to dip your toes into a bib, because they generally won't disappoint even to the seasoned bourbon drinker. Now, obviously, it's 100 proof, 50% alcohol by volume, just like it was the previous year. Still has the same, all cork. Got the nice, embossed glass. The bottle game's on point. I like these bottles, really do. A few things here. Every year, and really, between the spring and the fall, the mash bill changes. This one is SB091, 60%. SB091 plus a toasted barrel, 30%. Which, if we do the rough math, 90% is SB091 in this blend. And then B005 plus toast is 10%. So this is mostly an SB091. So that does differ from last year. Here it is in the glass. I've seen barrel strings that have been lighter in color. Pretty nice color. Let's give it a nosing. Just immense amounts of like fruity pebbles. The most fruit. It's like fruit cocktail, that syrupy, like the heavy syrup, not that low sugar kind or no sugar added kind. I mean like the original, give you diabetes kind. Fruit cocktail in a can. Exactly what we get on the nose here. Turns almost a little cherry. There's some caramels, almost a little chocolatiness here. Little chocolate, little cherry, little fruit. Good heavy dose of vanilla. Let's take a sip. Good Lord, that's delicious. It's very similar on the palate to what I said on the nose. It's just got a lot of fruit. It's almost like a very jammy toast with a lot of caramel vanilla on the back end. Another winner from Chattanooga for the bib. If you like fruit forward, not really much oak in here. This is all caramel, vanillas, and then just a ton of fruit. If you like oak heavy, older age stuff, not for you. But there's no youth notes in here. So take note, all you young, crafty distilleries that taste like crap and grain. No youth notes, 4 years old. They're doing something right. Bourbon Bill's A+ rating. So can't say anything bad about it. It's delicious for the price, and it's really good. Big question though, how did it compare to last year's spring bib? So this would be the 2018 bottled in bond from last year. one of my favorites. Totally different recipe. So let's go over the recipe on this one. SB091 is 36.5%. So we went from 36.5 to 90. Big difference. SB055, 36.5. B005, 18%. Okay, so there is B005 plus toast in the new one at 10%. This one was 18%, no toast. And then R18016, 9%. They also changed the bottle a little bit. They put like the word bib embossed in the middle of the label here. So, you know, different on the mash bill for sure. Alright, so I got to pour it up here in the mini. Let's give it a nosing. Okay, it has that heavy fruit front, but it's got a little bit more like oak to it. Yeah, there's just a little bit of a savory note peeking in on the old 2018 versus the 2019 here. It's a little less sweet with a little bit more oak to it. Let's take a sip. The Spring Bib last year has just more of like an oak component. It's not really, there's like more, it's a little bit darker, it's less sweet. The fruit's there, but there's like some more complex, like, I don't want to say grain notes, but a little bit more caramel, a little bit more brown sugar. Just the faintest hint of oak. It's a teensy bit oakier than the new one. A lot less sweet though. So which one do I like better? Let's go back to the 2023 version. Last year's Spring Bib, the 2018, in reality the 2022 release, was a tad bit better. I think it's just more complex. They're very similar profiles. The new one is a little bit sweeter and a lot more fruitier. Okay, but the one from last year had the fruit, but had a little bit more just barrel characteristics to it, a little bit more caramel, a little bit darker. It did have the faintest twinge of malt. So if you're very malt sensitive, you will prefer this year's. So there you have it. Still a winner this year. Keep up the good work, Chattanooga. Quite a difference in blends, really. But that's not all. How about a little Chattanooga whiskey single barrel action? So, when I saw what the mash bill was of the new one, I knew I had to compare. This is a single barrel from Chattanooga at barrel strength. This one comes in at 118.9 proof. Compute, 59.45% alcohol by volume. Also a 2023 release. Age, it says greater than 4 years. Huh. You know, whatever. Greater than 4 years. This one happens to be Barrel 91, Recipe SB091. So the new Spring Bib is 90% SB091. This one's 100% at barrel strength. So kind of, it's basically like tasting that bib at barrel strength, right? I mean, you know, they're roughly the same age. This one might be a tad older. You know, there's 10% that's different in the bib, but close enough for government work, we're going to say. So before we dive into this, I got to do a big shout out to James. Longtime supporter of the channel, James. All three of these came from James. So thank you, sir, you know, over the course of the year there. Thank you, sir. Could not do these delicious Chattanooga reviews without you. Alright, here's a single barrel on the nose. Oh, move over, bib. A new king is landed. So this takes that fruit note, amps it up, adds a lot more barrel char and oak. So this is like taking the fruitier notes of the new bib combined with a little bit of barrel characteristics nose of last year's. Let's take a sip. Way creamier, way thicker on the mouthfeel, way longer finish. Doesn't drink that much hotter though. It literally barely drinks hotter than those hundreds. It's just way thicker and more viscous. the caramel and vanilla is tuned way up along with the fruit. So this is like, we'll care to say traditional like bourbon flavors, done extremely well with one of the best mouthfeels I've had from Chattanooga ever. In conclusion, I think the single barrel is the winner so far this year, but the Spring Bib's still very good this year for 2023. Still a buy from Bourbon Bill if you can find that. And if you have, one from last year, just know that's a winner, the Spring. I don't have any of the falls to compare for you, so sorry about that if you're a big fall bib guy. I don't have any for you. I will leave you with one note of caution, though. Not all of these single barrels are that recipe. So if you are not a fan of malt, find one that says SB091. If you're a bourbon drinker, you're going to like that, okay? You're going to like that. No problem there. But this could be B004, B005, or SB055. I have not had those. Chances are one or maybe two of those I will find disgusting because some of their mash bills have a very high malt flavor. So potentially one of those single barrels could have that. So it's kind of like a game of Russian roulette if you're not a single malt fan. But I'm here to tell you the SB091 recipe is safe for you non-malt lovers. So if you like what you saw tonight, please like, comment, and most importantly, hit that subscribe button. Thanks everyone. Have a good night.